And this is part of what waiting does. It prepares you for the moment to step into the calling that God has on your life when the time is right. But here's the deal. That type of preparedness, it doesn't come from like a passive waiting. No, it comes from an intentional waiting, the type of waiting that says, Lord, I will be faithful to whatever it is you put right in front of me. That's how God prepares us for our calling. Look down at verse 33 to 38. This is Joseph speaking. He says, and now let Pharaoh look for a discerning and wise man and put him in charge of the land of Egypt. And then he gives Pharaoh like a very detailed plan of how to manage this food so that they can actually get this nation through the famine. And jump down to verse 37. The plan seemed good to Pharaoh and to all his officials. So Joseph interprets Pharaoh's dreams. But then he also gives him like a really solid plan to go with it. And this is a part of a larger progression of spiritual maturity that we've seen in Joseph's life. At the start of things, we see that he gets dreams from God. And then a little bit later, we see him interpret dreams. Now he's not just interpreting dreams, but he has the wisdom and the discernment to give clear instruction along with it. There's been an evolution to his gifting over time. He's not just gifted now, but he's actually wise enough for this moment. He can carry the weight of what he's being asked to step into. And this is part of what waiting does. It prepares you for the moment to step into the calling that God has on your life when the time is right. But here's the deal. That type of preparedness, it doesn't come from like a passive waiting. We just throw our hands up and, God, I don't know, I hope you do something. No, it comes from an intentional waiting, the type of waiting that says, Lord, I will be faithful to whatever it is you put right in front of me. Whatever that thing is, I'll do it. That's how God prepares us for our calling. Now, I know that most of you are familiar with me from this context, right? Preaching, or I've led worship here for many years. What you might not know about me is that before I moved to Columbus, in the small little country town I grew up in, my life was not music or ministry. My life was all sports. It's like all I cared about. In this small little country town, this is all I did. And in that small town, believe it or not, I was the quarterback for my high school football team. Now, I know that is probably so obvious because I'm so tall and I'm so physically imposing. No, obviously not. But here's the great thing actually about growing up in a small town is you don't have to be that big or really even that good to get a chance at QB. And so that's what I was trying to do. And so I remember this moment when I was a sophomore in high school. I was a couple inches shorter than I am now. I was probably 135 pounds soaking wet, but I thought I should be the guy. And I wasn't. I was the backup. And I remember being frustrated and just wanting to play so bad, and I'm on the sidelines, but I'm doing the thing. I'm learning the plays. I'm doing the drills. I'm playing on the scout team, even though I'm not getting to see the field on Friday. But sure enough, about halfway through the season, in the middle of a close game, the starting quarterback, he gets hurt. Right? We've seen this story before. And I remember looking out at him and thinking, oh no, what are we going to do? Right? And then I realized everyone's looking at me, and then I really thought, oh no, what are we going to do? But I'm trying to play cool, I'm jogging out on the field, I'm so nervous. I'm so nervous. And then the play call comes in, I look at my little play sheet on my wristband, and I have this aha moment where I go, wait a second, I know this play. I've done this drill. I practiced this before. I can actually do this. I had a peace. I had a confidence. All of that time that I had spent on the sideline wanting to play, but just doing the stuff, day in, day out, what was right in front of me, it had actually prepared me for this moment. I didn't know that's what was happening, but I was ready. And if I had just sat on the sideline twiddling my thumbs, mad at the coach or whatever, I would not have been ready. I would have been relying purely on ability and luck, honestly. Now, I know this is a cringy example, especially for those of you that hate sports, but this is like honestly what I think of when I picture Joseph in this moment. He's getting called up to the big leagues. He's standing in front of Pharaoh. And when that moment comes, he's not just relying on ability and gifting. He's actually wise enough for the moment. All of his life, the challenge, the waiting, the setbacks, the pain, it's prepared him to actually be able to carry this weight right now. He's ready. He knows the plays. He's able to give wise instruction. He's prepared. And how did that happen? He was faithful to do what God put right in front of him over and over again. We don't know exactly what he did during these 2 years in prison. The text doesn't tell us that. But we can make a pretty good guess based on his track record. In the beginning of the story, he's obedient to his father. Later, we see him demonstrate responsibility and integrity in Potiphar's house, even when temptation comes. And then after he's thrown in prison, what do we see? He's used by God. He interprets dreams. He serves the prisoners right in his midst. This is how God prepared him. It wasn't some magical thing he dropped on his head out of the clouds. It came from day by day obedience to the Lord. That's where the wisdom came from. Listen, some of you are here today and you're waiting for your moment. You're waiting for an opportunity. Maybe you have a dream job in your heart or a ministry you'd love to lead. Or you have a desire to have an impact on your school or your neighborhood or your workplace. And you think to yourself, if I could just have an opportunity, I could do so much. I wonder if part of this waiting season for you is because God is equipping you and maturing you so that when the time comes, you can actually hold the weight of the thing he's called you to do.